Good evening. Welcome to the latest live edition of Last Bell Boxing, proudly sponsored by LW Liftings for all your site logistical needs. Joined as always by regular Daz. How are you, mate?
All right, mate. Good, thank you.
What have you been up to this week, pal?
Not a lot, mate. Just training, Nick. That's it, really.
Great stuff. So we'll touch on that later on because it's not far from fight night.
No, it's close.
So, but let's get straight into it. As you can see from the headline, the first thing we're talking about tonight is the Zhang Joyce 2 and the undercard to go with it. Let's start off a bit down the card, and then we'll come to Zhang and Joyce a little bit later on, mate, if that's all right by you.
Yes, mate.
So, heavyweight who's looking like he could be a bit of a sensation, Moses Italma, currently sat at 4-0. He's going in against Amin Bruchetta. What do you think so far of Moses's pro career, Daz?
Yeah, I like him. I like what I see. He's very. I was actually told about Moses by a friend of mine who works at England Boxing. Before Moses turned pro, he told me to keep an eye on him. He says, keep an eye on this kid. Moses, he told me he's going to be special. And this is a guy who, saw him through amateurs at England Boxing and everything. So, yeah listen, mate, he's doing really... I like the kid, mate. I like him. And do you know what, mate? He's not... he doesn't talk rubbish either, does he?
He don't seem to. He just gets on with it, don't he?
Yeah, and you know what I mean? If he's got something to say, I'm sure he'll say it. Do you know what I mean? But he's not... Doesn't seem one of... And some people can say that's a bit detrimental. He's got no personality, etc., etc. But I like people that do the talking in the ring.
Yeah. Good evening, boxing expert. Good evening, Joe. How are you, fellas? Do you want to pick? Do you want to pick that comment up in the side, Daz?
Yeah, don't help with all the Tyson ball. I presume he's on about Tyson and Ngannou.
No, I think he's on about the fact that Moses is saying that he wants to become a world champion quicker than Tyson did.
Yeah, I've just clicked on. Yeah, my bad. I agree with a boxing expert. Yeah, it's a bit of pressure, that, isn't it?
He's also put Warren did him no favors there.
No, definitely not. Seems a level-headed kid though. Just hope that it doesn't get rushed. With that thing in their mind saying he'll be younger heavyweight. I don't exactly know how long he's got to do that, but
is it a couple of years?
Yeah, it might be. Listen, in this day and age, mate, with some of these heavyweights that are about at the minute, you've got to say he could do it.
Yeah, it's not the most stacked division, is it?
No, it's and to be fair, mate, when how Tyson did it, Tyson beat some killers. Burbick. Let's not forget Bone Crusher Smith with quality. Beat some very good fighters. Mike Tyson did. I mean, I'm not saying that Italma, it'd be any less. Well, it probably would be a less of achievement, to be fair, if he knocked a Charles Martin over for a vacant IBF title. Do you know what I mean? You can't really compare it.
I mean, there's a very good chance, Daz. There's a very good chance that at some point in the very near future, these world titles are going to get split.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, is Fury still going to be around in 2 years? Is Usyk going to be around in 2 years?
Who knows? If the big money's there, they'll be around, I reckon, because let's have it right. There's not masses of elite level heavyweights coming up behind him to take the titles away, is there?
Listen, if Moses progresses and ends up beating Usyk for titles and breaking that record, you've got to take, it'll be a bigger statement than him knocking over some, a Charles Martin for a vacant title.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So we'll just have to see with that one. That's just the time will tell.
Just to let everyone know in the sidebar, I'm not talking about every single fight on this card. We're gonna touch on a few, because there's also that big card in Florida with the massive announcement that was made early, which I'm sure Daz is really, really, really happy about. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Looking at his eyes, he's not impressed one little bit.
Who's that?
So, your mate, Conor Ben.
Oh,
But we'll talk about that shortly.
Come on, Sandy Ryan. Steal the show, girl. Steal the show.
We'll talk about that shortly, mate. Just before we move on to the next fight, do you just want to pick?
Can I just pick that
up from Joel?
Yeah. Yeah, totally agree with you, Joe. Warren did. He said the same about Dubois, put him in with Joyce, and we know what happened. Yeah, 100% agree, mate. No need to rush. To be fair, mate, there's no need to rush any fighter. If they're ready, they're ready. If they're not, they're not. It's that simple. Can I just pick up boxing expert Ben equals disgrace? 1,000,000% agree with you, mate. 1,000,000%.
Boxing expert, hang around because I want your comments on the Conor Ben fight and the fact that he's been added to that card. But we're going to talk about that card shortly. Let's go back onto the Wembley Arena card BT show Saturday night. So local boy to us, or to me, in Nottingham, Ezra Taylor. He's going in against John McIntyre. Now, Ezra's currently sat at 6-0. This is a light heavyweight fight, Daz, and McIntyre's got some serious experience.
Mate, it's a good fight.
Good fight.
Yeah, good fight. Joel McIntyre's no pushover, mate.
No, he's been in with some brilliant.
No pushover.
Shakhan Pitters, Lyndon Arthur, Dex Spellman, to name a few.
If you're not on the ball, mate, you're gonna have a long night with Joel. If you're not on the ball, you're gonna have a long night.
Yeah. What have you seen in Ezra so far, Daz? That where do you think he goes?
Mate, I like the kid. Me, I think he can punch. I like it. I like everything about him.
Yeah,
I do like everything about him. He looks very assured.
Yeah.
Ring. I'm tipping British champion, mate. Me.
Exciting times for Nottingham boxing.
It is, mate. Yeah, it is.
Looking forward to seeing where Ezra progresses to.
Who trains Ezra?
Say again.
Who trains Ezra?
I think he's in the same gym as Echo.
Right. Yeah.
I think. Anyone in the sidebar that knows differently can quote me differently, but I'm pretty sure he's out of that gym. So there's some real talent, Echo's leading the way there. So there's some great talent in that gym.
It's about time Echo got a big fight, I think.
It is unfortunately. Yeah, it's one of them. Echo's one of them fighters, mate. They don't call him the engine for nothing.
Yeah, he's super
fit. He gives an absolute nightmare to anybody in that weight class just because of his
fit.
Yeah, crazy. Do you want to pick that one up from boxing expert, mate?
Ezra's done everything they're supposed to do, to be honest, and he's stopped work. Yes, mate, definitely I agree with that. And I think this is a step up. This is his first step up from his previous fights. Be a good yardstick, this boxing expert, I think.
Yeah, I've actually wrote that down on my paperwork. You've stole my line, mate.
What's that? It's a good
yardstick.
Yeah, it is, mate. Yeah. I think it's a fight that, even though I think Ezra can do a British title at least, I don't think he's going to have it all his own way this fight. I think he's might cop a couple of shots here and there, but if he doesn't and he absolutely dominates, then exciting time. So
could be a really good bit of matchmaking. This right fight at the right time.
Yeah, mate, it could. Do you know what? Joel's a good fighter, mate. Good, honest fighter, and if you're not on it, he'll cause you problems. Let's be real. If Ezra's on it, mate, I expect him to look very, very good. So it's a case. Let's see.
Okay, moving on to the next fight then. Zach Parker's back out after his loss to John Ryder and his hand injury. He's in a 10-rounder against Cali Gradia. Now, this is interesting. So Cali Gradia in his last fight fought Ezra. So that probably tells you what kind of level he's at. So this might be Zach Parker's bordering world level, in my opinion.
Zach Parker's actually said he'd fight Anthony Yarde on this bill.
He said he'd fight Anthony Yarde.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a statement and a half, isn't
it? Is it really going to happen? Would it happen at this short notice?
No, is the answer. There's no way. I mean, Zach Parker's a super middleweight. Yarde's a light heavy. Now, whether Zach Parker's decided to move up, if he's, I mean, this fight I believe is at super middleweight, but is he considering moving up? Is that why he's calling out Yarde?
I don't know, mate. Boxing experts put terrible matchmaking.
Yeah.
Zach needs support. Yeah, I sort of agree with that, mate. I think he could have had a better opponent. But
Joe's put just a run out for Parker.
Yeah, and then totally. Yeah, 1,000,000% from Joe. It's just a run out. Just get him some rounds, get him back in front of TV cameras, I think.
Boxing expert put no one knows him outside of Derby. Let's be honest. That's a little bit harsh, I think. But you often get this on Frank Warren cards, mate, where fighters that have got a hell of a lot of talent that you think should be superstars, you just don't get the massive push that they do on some of the other promotions, on Boxer or on Matchroom. These fighters don't seem to get that massive push. Maybe it's the BT thing. Maybe it's Warren's old school and don't. We've spoke about it, the way he promotes. He's not social media friendly, I don't think, and that's maybe where his fighters lose out a little bit. Zach Parker's serious talent, though. I mean, and so's John Ryder. I mean, you look at what John Ryder did in the Canelo fight, how brave he was and how tough he was. That tells you just how good John Ryder is, and that Zach Parker fight it was a shame he got injured, because it was turning out to be an interesting fight.
Yeah, let me just pick these up from him. It was one fight away from Canelo. Warren poor matchmaking.
He was one fight away from Canelo.
To be fair, mate, that fight with Ryder were for a shot at Canelo, weren't it?
It was.
So, I don't really think that's poor. On back of who Zach beat, I think, listen, if he didn't beat Ryder, so what would he have done with Canelo? He'd have probably got stopped. But these comments here, mate, I think you've hit nail on head, really. Why is he not fighting in East Midlands to build, Ezra ain't getting a push or Echo? Mate, I totally agree.
I've never understood. I've said it no end of times. I've never understood why Warren doesn't bring any shows to Nottingham.
No, he doesn't seem to push the fighters who he promotes outside of London.
No,
all his shows seem to be in London.
I mean, you've got a fighter in Echo that's won everything, beat everyone in front of him. He's deserving of fringe world level shots, if not world level shots.
Yeah, mate, I've seen Echo.
He's on undercards in the O2 and undercards in Wembley Arena. Why is he not headlining the Ice Arena at Nottingham?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Echo fight up close. He was on a Scott Kalo bill that we had a fighter on. Obviously, when I was working with Mike White and everyone, and mate, to watch him in person fight, he just doesn't stop. Just does not stop.
No, that name, the engine, is absolutely perfect for him.
Yeah, just does not stop, mate. And yeah, listen, it gives anyone trouble. Can you imagine if he fights somebody? Let's say somebody's a bit better technically than him, but they've not put the work in the gym, mate. They're going to get found out. He's super, super fit.
So he's put Echo doesn't help himself in terms of profile. Leewood has had to learn the hard way, and he has the best promoter in the game in the world in terms of giving fighters exposure. Well, he has, and that's why Lee Wood's in the position he's in. If you think about if you think about the fact that Lee Wood got that world title shot against Kanzu, then he wasn't in a position for that. He just won the British title. Lee's always been popular in Nottingham, though, so I think you're being a bit unfair there. Lee's always had a really good following in Nottingham. It's just the wider British public might not have seen Lee's talent, in shining light, but the Nottingham public certainly did. But I see your point. I don't understand why Warren doesn't bring shows to Nottingham. I don't get it. He does Birmingham. He does Telford for some reason. I don't know why the Telford thing's such a big thing for him, but he does Telford. And he's got 2 fighters there that will sell out in Nottingham. I've got no doubt about it. You have a decent undercard, and that Nottingham Arena's getting full. So yeah, bit of a strange one. Yeah, bit of a strange one for me. Do you want to pick the comments up from Imran?
Yeah, Canelo would have hurt Parker. I think Ryder was more credible opponent. Yeah, listen, that's why they fought. 100% to me, that's why Parker and Ryder fought. It's winner deserved to fight Canelo. Well, to be fair, deserves probably maybe a strong word, but it was fair. Was it mandatory? What for WBO number 1 or something?
It was a final eliminator for the Canelo fight, I believe.
That's it. Yeah. So yeah, listen, it was a fair match, and the winner got what they deserved. So, but yeah, Ryder did better than what Parker would have done. I do believe. So I agree with you on that, Imran.
I'm getting the distinct impression here, Daz, that Boxing Expert doesn't like Frank Warren or his promotion. He's put, look at Sonny Edwards and what Eddie Hearn is doing for his profile. Yeah, I get you. What he's doing is he's getting Sonny Edwards the massive fights. Sonny Edwards don't need anyone building his profile. He does that all by himself. But what the difference is that DAZN and Matchroom Boxing have got the funds to make these massive fights for Sonny Edwards. That's the difference. And clearly, I mean, Eddie Hearn's the best promoter in the game when it comes to talking his fighters up and creating a narrative for his fighters. He's way above everybody else. Frank Warren's old school, and I think his lads are doing a better job at bringing the fighters through and showing. But it's going to take time, isn't it? It's one of them. But I hear what you're saying, and I agree to a lot of it, mate. Yeah, I agree to a lot of it. Okay, Daz. Moving on to Sam Noakes. Sam Noakes is in a 10-rounder for the WBC International Silver Lightweight title against Carlos Perez from Spain. Carlos Perez 19-7-2, and Sam Noakes has obviously sat at perfect record of 11-0. What's your feeling about Sam Noakes?
He's not done a lot wrong at the minute, has he? Exciting puncher. I think jury's out on him a little bit, mate, to be fair. For me, anyway, till he gets a test. I'm not sure Perez is the one to deliver it.
Boxing expert says Sam Noakes hasn't kicked on the way he should have.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at Perez's record because I've had a bit of a theory that big punchers are sometimes, big punchers who storm through division are sometimes a little bit suspect around the whiskers.
Yeah, because they don't concentrate on defence.
We've had in past Paul Scrap Iron Ryan, massive puncher, but a little bit suspect around the chin. And I've not gone through all Noakes' opponents, but a couple of them, to quote a famous boxing man, couldn't break an egg. You know what I mean? So I'm like a bit, there's quite a few who have got like, 14 wins, 8 wins, sometimes more losses, but they've either got no knockouts or one knockout. And this kid Perez, I thought, I'm just having a little look here, and I thought, I guarantee in his 19 wins, he's got no more than 5 knockouts. He's got 1.
Yeah. So
I'm always a little bit suspect.
Comments in the sidebar again, mate. Boxing expert, what a waste of talent. What a waste of a talented boxer. Again, shite promotion and matchmaking. Joel's put, Noakes should blast this kid out in a couple of rounds.
Yeah, listen, I'm not sure that there's no chin issues there. If Noakes has got a solid chin, mate, then he's going to be an handful. Going to be a proper problem because he can obviously dig. But I always think with punchers that, when they're matched with people who couldn't break an egg, as I said before.
Yeah.
Do people see things in sparring? Do people know things we don't? Do you know what I mean?
Boxing expert, let's be honest. Warren has Fury, Joyce, Dubois, and the rest of them cannot sell out a telephone box. Harsh.
Yeah, I mean, could Dubois sell out a telephone box?
I don't think he's the biggest ticket seller, is it?
No. Listen, I just think it all boils down to that Frank does it his own way, and it's not everybody's way. Frank seems to, like Andy said earlier, Frank's old school, and he seems to be staying in that mentality. Whereas Eddie Hearn has moved on from his dad's way of promoting boxers. Eddie Hearn's evolved. Frank hasn't.
I tell you what, Daz, there's also a massive difference between the way, for example, Sky promote boxing and promote the boxers compared to the way BT or TNT, as it's called now, promote the boxers and boxing. Yeah. It's night and day. There's definitely not a focus from TNT, or there wasn't from BT. Whether that changes now, I don't know. Hopefully it will do. And then some of these fighters will get a bit of a better profile. But I kind of agree with what Joe's saying. Joe's saying nearly 99% of boxers aren't known by the general public, as in casual fans. And Joe's right. Most people that don't really watch boxing only know the massive names. And that's because they're on the news. That's because they're on Sky Sports News. They're on mainstream news in newspapers. Most of them that don't watch boxing won't know anyone on this card apart from Joe Joyce.
Yeah. Do you know what, though? Thing with Frank Warren. I think Frank Warren, like, obviously, like we've said, old school. And he probably is in that ilk where he wants his fighters to do their talking in ring. Let the fist do the talking. Now, that's all right if you've got fighters who are capable of doing that.
Yeah.
Take Fury away. He's got Yard, Fury and Yard. Who can hang at world level? Who's he got who can hang at world level? Raven Chapman, she can. So for me, world level fighters, he's got obviously Fury, without a question.
He's not got many, has he?
Yard can hang at world level. Raven Chapman.
The other thing as well, Gaz. The other thing is Warren don't seem to throw the money at bringing world level fighters over here. So if, for example, we were talking about Echo Eshelman earlier on, if Echo's going to get a massive shot, he's going to have to go to the States to get it. Because Warren won't break the bank to bring world level fighter over here for Echo.
No. Boxing expert could be worse. He could be Ben Shalom, who is ruining the Sky product, and I don't think they will renew his contract. Equals shambles.
Proper going in on one tonight, aren't you, boxing expert?
Yeah, mate. Listen, I can see where he's coming from with that.
Yeah. Ben Shalom's very young, mate. He's having
Ben
to.
Has a lot
he's been
to
thrown in at the very deep end on Sky, hasn't he?
Yeah. Dev Cheesani. Dev Cheesani. I like that. I also like that Ben Shalom is a pound shop hern. But listen,
he's like I say, Eddie has been doing it a long, long while.
Yeah, I sort of agree with what I mean
God does.
with what you're saying. I sort of agree with what you're saying, boxing expert. And it's like, where's he come from? I mean, where's Ben come from? You know what I mean? He sort of just appeared.
It's amazing, isn't it? When Sky go from having the number one promoter in the UK doing massive numbers every week to pushing a promoter in Ben Shalom that was only getting a few shows here and there. They were doing these kind of tournament style 3-round fights, weren't they, for a while?
Well, we had an heavyweight in, didn't we? We had Mark Bennett, the Ultimate Boxer. Yeah. I mean, and that was Carl Greaves' idea, I believe. That was Carl Greaves' format, so I've been told.
Carl's done. I don't think Ben Shalom would have got as far as he's got with Sky without Carl Greaves. No. There you go. I've said it. Carl Greaves he's done a hell of a lot, and he won't admit it himself. He's done a hell of a lot in the background to help Ben Shalom out. I don't think Carl's as involved now as he was. Don't quote me on that because I don't know. But I think that's the case. I think he still helps a little bit, but I don't think he's quite as involved.
Mate, listen. I mean, how lucky are you? How lucky are you if you can have someone like Carl Greaves helping you?
Yeah, I kind of agree with what Joe's saying as well. To be fair, Eddie got a leg up with getting the Sky gig. He also got a leg up with his name, Joe.
Yeah, Eddie's been around boxing from day he was born. He's been around sports and promotions and everything since he was born.
Didn't he go off and wasn't he doing something with golf on the American tour for a long time to learn his trade?
I don't know, mate, to be fair. I don't quite know what happened, but all I know is you ain't got a bad teacher in Barry Hearn, have you?
Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. Ben Shalom, I don't know Ben Shalom's background, I got to be honest, but it looks, from afar, it looks as though he's kind of learning on the job. Yeah. And he's brought some brilliant fights so far. I'm not knocking him too much. There's a lot more to come there, I think. Yeah. I think Sky ought to be patient with him. But we'll see. We'll see how it pans out. Okay, a little bit sidetracked there, but let's move on to the headliner. Zhang Joe Joyce 2. Daz, break the fight down for me. Does Joyce change anything? Can he change anything at this point in his career to make a difference?
I think the last fight, it was coming into it. It was getting into it. And he started to do better. But it still wasn't great. He, like we all commented, it looked like when I watched it, mate, I was in shock when I watched it. I think I'd been out and I come home and watched it and I was like, it looks like he's never even sparred a southpaw. It looks like he's never even seen one. Let's be truthful, mate. Joe's never been an head mover, has he? He's never moved his head, really. He's never.
Well, the thing is, he's never had to because everything bounces off him.
Yeah.
But we have said on numerous occasions on this show, eventually that's going to catch up with him.
Yeah, listen, it was quite. I mean, his face marking up and his eye swelling up. Yeah, listen, that's alarming. But I was more alarmed that he got Bambi-legged.
Yeah.
To be fair, as he just got old.
I mean, the big weight loss was a bit of an odd one for me, Daz.
Yeah, because he's come out and said that it weren't intentional, hasn't he?
How's that not intentional? How do you not know you're losing that weight? Surely you check weighting.
Yeah, mate, I don't know. It's a bit baffling to me. Listen, I just think they got it wrong. I just think they thought we'll come in light. I mean, why are you having somebody like Joyce come in light for movement when he moves about as much as my coffee table? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't move. It doesn't move.
And also, Daz, he's fighting the biggest fighter he's been in with, the heaviest fighter he's been in with.
Yeah,
he comes in his lightest.
The most athletic thing Joe does is the somersault at end of a fight. That's the most movement he does in a ring. Do you know what I mean? And listen, that's no slight to him. The guy's a monster, but
yeah,
you know, he came in lighter, a stone lighter than normal.
Crazy, something like that.
Against his big, like you said, against his biggest and heaviest opponent. I can't see if Zhang fights the same way. I think, you know, we know Joe's going to get hit again, and he's going to get hit plenty. So, can we see out different? I can't see anything different. I don't think. Only thing I can see happening is if Joe's features hold up, he may get to Zhang late.
Yeah.
He may get to him around 9 or 10. Do you know what I mean? But his face has got to hold up.
I just want to, Daz, just before we carry on with this, just want to pick up a couple of comments that we missed from what we were just talking about. Boxing experts put, and he's talking about Eddie Earn here. He still developed a brand, didn't he? The truth is, Eddie is just a better promoter. But he has grown the Matchroom brand stable, and he's now working on business, worldwide business. Completely agree. I believe Eddie Earn's the best promoter in boxing when it comes to building fighters and building a stable. But the first bit about building that brand, he was a little bit lucky though. If you remember, Boxing Expert, the Matchroom stable wasn't looking great, and if it wasn't for Carl Froch and Darren Barker winning world titles, it might never have kicked on to that next level. Carl Froch, I don't want to say single-handedly, but it was looking a bit ropey around that time. Carl Froch has their massive fights. Darren Barker goes on and wins a world title, and all of a sudden, it's looking brilliant for Matchroom, and they're getting big arenas filling out, and obviously, you know, the next wave of fighters came through, and it all looked really, really good. And so sometimes you need a little bit of luck, and Eddie Earn got that at that point, but he has definitely kicked on. Do I believe it was the right thing leaving Sky and going to DAZN? I'm not sure it's worked, mate, if I'm being honest. You know, the fact that DAZN is split now and they have Golden Boy Promotions, doing all the American shows, that because, you know, Matchroom America didn't seem to work very well. Matchroom USA, didn't seem to work very well. And you know, Eddie kind of concentrates now on UK and Europe. So, yeah, swings and roundabouts. So I would have liked to have seen him stay at Sky because that was massive at the time. And I think it was just going to get bigger, if I'm honest. But back to Zhang, Joyce. Daz, I'm not sure Joyce has. I mean, look at how old is he? 36.
Might be older, you know.
You know, I don't think he can change what he's doing.
No, he can't.
He's someone that's been in the amateur game for such a long while, goes into a pro game and has no head movement. Tells you a lot. I don't want to destroy Joe because, like you say, it's tough as they come. But I don't know, mate. I don't know. I want. Believe me, I really, really want Joe Joyce to win because I want to see them fights where Joe Joyce is fighting the big guys.
Just pick.
I want to see that rematch. I want to see that rematch with Usyk from the amateurs. I want to see Joe Joyce in against Fury. I want to see what he's capable of doing when he puts pressure on them two fighters and how they respond to it. He's got to look a damn sight better. I mean, I think that the weight loss was a massive factor. It was a big mistake. Whether he wants to admit it or not, it was a big mistake.
Yeah.
Right, Daz, let's have a prediction.
Do you know what, mate? I have a bit of faith in Joe, and I'm going to say Joe stoppage around 9.
I think this goes to points.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it goes to points. I think it's going to be a bit of a jab and old fest from Joe Joyce. I don't think he'll want to get too heavily involved. I think he needs to work his jab better than he did in the first fight. And he can't be using his head as his defense. He needs to be using his gloves to be stopping shots, not his face. Yeah, I see this going to points. I think Joe Joyce will win on points, but where he goes from there, I'm not sure. It's a bit of a big job for Warren to kind of get the belief back in him from the public, I think. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Right.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, cheers, boxing expert. Thanks a lot, mate. Really appreciate that. So, for anyone that's not read it, he's put, "Oh, Andy, don't agree with me. You never get things right." Right, moving on to what looks like a really good card over the other side of the pond in Orlando, Florida. Headlined by Richard Hitchens against Jose Zepeda. But we'll go a little bit further down the card to the announcement a few days ago, which does is can't wait to talk about, and that's the return of Conor Benn. Now he's in with a fighter that, looking at his record, can bang a bit, but maybe that's not telling the full story. This is also at super welterweight rather than welterweight. He's in with Rodolphe
Orozco or something.
Orozco, is that pronounced?
I think so.
His record is 32-3-3 with 24 knockouts. But obviously, you've got to look at the fighters he's been in with. But you can clearly hit. So we'll see how this goes. First and foremost, Daz, and the most straightforward question that is on everyone's lips and no one wants to seem to answer it: should Conor Benn be in this fight?
Morally, no. But this is Simon Robert Smith, said it today. This is what happens when you haven't got a worldwide boxing commission. No, for me, he shouldn't. But it's under a different license in America, so.
Hold on a minute. Let me just stop you there. I've got to read this comment out. Boxing experts on an absolute wind-up. All joking aside, I think this might be Carl. All joking aside, your record in predictions is terrible. Come on, Andy. Predict the fight. You might actually get one right. Can I just say?
Conor Benn hasn't been cleared either.
Can I just say? I've actually got a few predictions right.
Mate, if you'd have stuck to it, you did a genius prediction with
Crawford and Spence. I said to Daz on one of these shows, this is going to be a very one-sided fight. And then I bottled it, and I said that Crawford would win. Did I say points or late stoppage? I can't remember.
I think you said
but my first prediction was that it was going to be a very one-sided fight, and Crawford would win easy. But I bottled it a little bit. Yeah. I also got the Joshua Usyk fight bang on, which nobody else predicted. Everyone said Joshua was going to be too big and too strong. And Usyk was way too small and just a cruiserweight. Well, look at what happened there. So I do get a few right.
I mean,
once in a while, I do anyway.
Can I just pick this up from Boxing Expert saying he's innocent for fuck's sake? Come on, mate. Surely not. Surely you're not believing that.
Well, if you go by the rule book, Daz, he is cleared. He is cleared to fight. He's not got his license back in the UK.
Yeah, he's not.
But if you go by the rule book, he's cleared to fight. He's got a license, I believe, via Texas.
Yeah, but he's not actually been cleared of doping, has he? He's actually been. There's been a report about ways that it could have happened. They've not actually said this is what's happened, I believe. It's like this could have happened. Because if it had been totally cleared, mate, he'd have a license by the British Boxing Board of Control.
Well, that's the British Boxing Board.
Yeah, they're not
as far as UCAD, as far as I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah, well, the board aren't happy with the report. They want full investigation. They want proof he's not done it.
Well, maybe they do, but UCAD is saying he's cleared. UCAD is saying he can fight. Otherwise, this organisation, ABC, I think it's called, over in America, they wouldn't let him fight. So they've got to agree. The Texas board have got to agree, because they're the one that's giving him the license for the fight, and also Florida have to agree. Otherwise, they won't put him on the fight. So, by that account, he's free to fight. Imran's point of view. I'm guessing it's the way you want to look at it.
The Florida State Commission have contacted British Boxing Board. Was given. Now they haven't. British Boxing Board hasn't given the green light.
What's that comment from him on a bit further up, mate? You just want to read that one out?
Read Robert Smith's statement regarding this. British Boxing Board of Control haven't given him the green light because it's nothing to do with the British Boxing Board of Control, because he's on a different license from Texas, so it's nothing to do with British Boxing Board of Control.
So Imran's put. I watched a show from you guys, and Darren said he's not a fan. He's not a big fan of Conor Benn. I'd like to know why he's not a fan, because I've never taken to him either, to be honest. But love to hear what you've got to say, Daz. Why don't you like Ben?
I think I remember conversation, and I actually said I was a fan of Conor. I was a fan of Conor, but since all this, I've just sort of. I mean, when you sort of look. Listen, I spoke to a fighter, and Andy was there. I'm not going to name any names. Not going to name any names at all. Andy can back this up. We were somewhere together the other day, and from a very, very reliable source, was informed of Conor Benn's physique change. If you can remember, Andy.
Yep.
Yeah, and this person who said this has got no reason to lie whatsoever. You know, and it was just a case of, yeah, listen, the guy was jacked, and I mean jacked. But then you match that with the performances that he pulls out when he fought the French geezer and had life and death.
Cedric Pinel.
Yeah, that's him. And then he absolutely demolishes Van Heerden, demolishes Algieri. You know, and then both say, listen, never been hit like that in my life. Never been hit like that. And it's like, well, where does that come from? It doesn't just happen overnight. His technique's not going to change. I just think that there's a lot of clouds over it, and then you got this statement, you know, how it's been handled, this so-called 270-page dossier, and then you've got this egg business, and then it's just been an absolute farce. You know, I just think to myself that there's that many silly statements come out about it. It sort of looks guilty. You know, it is. Listen, there's a lot of things that point to him being guilty. A lot of things. And there's not as many point to him being innocent, if I'm honest. You know, if it's... I mean, let me just pick this up. Boxing expert, Shah. Oh, no, that's his name. Sorry. I'm from South London and we're all in Ben's corner. Down. Listen, you know, you've got. I get what you're saying. I agree. You know, I sort of get what you're saying, but well, my uncle were from Bethnal Green, but that don't mean I think Craze were choir boys. Do you know what I mean? Come on, it's like you got to look at it from a boxing point of view and an evidence point of view. He's a money cow, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? These fighters who have been who are not as well known, who have been back. Listen, I just think it's disgusting. We back our own down here, Mush. You got a bit of London traveller blood in you, son.
Just coming onto them comments from boxing expert. This isn't a show where we're knocking Ben, mate, not by any stretch. Because
no, listen, I'm a fan, mate. Listen,
when it all first kicked off, boxing expert, when it all first kicked off, we purposely, on this show, did not make comment. We purposely didn't do what thousands of other channels did and bury Ben. We didn't do it because there's explanations for things. There's lots of explanations for things. And still now, I want him to clear his name. I want Ben to clear his name. I want Matchroom and to sit down with Ben and the boxing board and UCAD and come to some sort of a reconcile, because clearly the relationship between Ben and the boxing board is not in a good position. Whether whoever's right and whoever's wrong. I just want that cleared up because I don't want to see Ben fighting on Florida cards. I want to see Ben fighting on UK cards and building his career back up, because Imran put earlier on, I know Andy's a big lover of Conor Ben. I was a massive lover of Conor Ben's old man. Nigel is one of my favourite fighters of all time because of his style and his never giving attitude, and the fact that you never knew whether he was going to knock a fighter out or he was going to get knocked out himself. He was always in wars. And I could see that was the way Conor Ben's career was going to start to go. And I loved it. You know, I just hope that this doesn't put a cloud over him for the rest of his career. That's my only thing.
I mean,
everyone's going to have an opinion. Daz has got his opinion. Boxing expert, you've got yours. And somewhere in the middle is the correct answer. Somewhere in the middle is the truth. I just hope we get to that point. If he's going to go out and have this fight, fine. If another governing body are saying he can fight, then who are we to say he can't? At the end of the day, it is what it is. Boxing is what it is. Come on, let's open our eyes here, guys. Boxing's not the choir boy sport, is it?
Can I just pick boxing expert anyway? Just move on because you're all clearly Ben haters. Mate,
come on, no, that's not the case.
No, I'm not a Ben hater, mate. I'm a cheat hater. I don't like cheats, especially when it's in a sport where people can get killed. If he comes out and it's proven beyond a doubt that there's an explanation, I'll hold my hands up and I'll say, fair dues. But I can tell you now that's not going to happen. I can tell you now that is not going to happen. It's just going to get swept away. Whatever happen will happen. He'll end up back with a British Boxing Board of Control license, and he'll have this over him for the rest of his career.
We'll see, Daz, because he's made a good point there that Canelo's not been overly affected by it, and his was obvious. You know, it was obvious what was going on with Canelo, and he you know, he's moved on and he's made massive money and massive fights since.
Where's his? How do you know he's innocent, boxing expert? What are you judging his innocent on? He was found with a masking agent for steroid cycles in his system that he shouldn't have had in his. There's no possible explanation in his system.
From my point of view, boxing expert, from my point of view, all I ever wanted was for Ben and his team to just say, right, okay, well, this is how we think. You know, clearly it was in my system, because unless it's been a contamination, clearly it was in his system.
It's something though, Andy.
Hold on, Daz. Hold on.
Given to women.
Hold on, mate. Hold on. Unless it was in his system somehow. So it's down to Ben and his team to give an explanation for how it got into his system or why it got into his system. Now, there is examples down the years of things getting into somebody's system by mistake. It happens, but they just need to come out and say that. That's the only thing for me about the whole situation. Is I just want to see it cleared up. As a boxing fan, I just want to see it cleared up. I think it's time you know, Daz is never going to agree with boxing expert, and boxing expert's never going to agree with Daz. I think it's time we probably move on to the next fight. Amo Williams is in a pretty decent fight against Steve Rolls. This might test Amo a little bit here. Steve Rolls has only lost twice in his career, against Triple G and against Edgar Berlanga. So that tells you the talent he's been in with. This is going to be a massive yardstick for Amo Williams. He didn't look great the last time he was out against River Wilson Bent. I thought he looked really sluggish. Kieran Conway did a great job against him for as long as it lasted. I'm quite looking forward to seeing how this goes, this fight. I think it's really interesting. What's your opinion on Amo Williams? Because he come on the scene and everyone was talking about him doing massive things, Daz.
Yeah, he was supposed to fight Felix Cash, weren't it, one bit?
The Matchroom brought him over, didn't they? He did some commentary on a Cash fight, and then there was a bit of niggle afterwards. And I think Cash has got injured since then, though, and that's probably why the fight hasn't happened.
I think he's a good fighter, mate. This is like this is a good yardstick.
Yeah, I think it's I think it is a good yardstick, and we'll see what Amo Williams has got. We'll see whether he can dig, because I think he'll need to in this fight. Boxing expert, I hope you're right. I hope it is down to that, and I hope that he clears his name. That's my opinion. And we'll see where it goes, mate. Let's see how he performs. Let's see how he performs on Saturday night. Do you see Amo Williams? I mean, the middleweight division at the minute isn't the strongest division in boxing, Daz. Do you see him picking up a world title?
Possibly. Never say never.
So, boxing experts put typical American can talk better than he can fight. Reminds him of Jeff Lacey. Very good analogy, that, mate. Yeah, Jeff Lacey was down as this massive puncher that was going to destroy everyone, and then obviously comes over and Joe Calzaghe schooled him, didn't he? And you didn't really hear much from Jeff Lacey after that. He kind of went off into the wilderness, because sometimes that happens with fighters. We'll see when Amo Williams steps up, where it goes. So, before we talk about the headlining, we have to talk about, in my opinion, the most important fight on the card, and that's Jessica McCaskill and Sandy Ryan. This is an outstanding fight, and will no doubt, in my opinion, steal the show. It'll be fight of the night. I think last time we spoke about this, Carl was of the opinion that Jessica McCaskill was past the best and over the hill a little bit. I'm not convinced of that, Daz. I think she's got lots and lots and lots left. You know, when you talk about the fact that the last time out she lost to Chantel Cameron, and Chantel Cameron's gone out and done a number on Katie Taylor convincingly, that just shows you just how good Chantel Cameron is, not how much Jessica McCaskill's gone down. I think she's still world level. But that being said, Sandy Ryan is outstanding, mate. An absolute killer in this division. Currently only 6-1. She's had 7 pro fights, and she's stepped up and stepped up and stepped up and stepped up every fight after fight after fight. You got to give her a credit. You got to give Clifton Mitchell credit for believing in her, believing in what she's got as a talent. I know you're a big fan, aren't you, Daz?
Yes, mate. I like Sandy. She's a very good fighter. Very good. She's just listen. I think, I don't know if you remember, but a few months ago I said she'll be the one to beat Chantel Cameron.
I know, that's a massive statement, that, mate.
I said she'll be the one, if it happens at some point, to beat Chantel Cameron. Yeah, she's a very good fighter, mate. Very, very good fighter. And I think she wins this quite comfortably, if I'm honest. Probably points it may go to, but I think she dominates this, to be fair. And then I think we'll see big unification, Sandy v Tasha.
That's a fight and a half, that, mate. Tasha Jonas, you know, she's proved time and time and time again she's world level. You know, everyone goes on about how good Katie Taylor is and what she's done for female boxing, which she has. Natasha Jonas has done just as much. She's been very unlucky in a couple of her fights, and she's not, you know, she's not took a downer from it. She wasn't, you know, she was kind of overlooked for rematches that she should have had at certain times as well. But she's gone on, mate, and she's become a 2-weight world champion. And like you say, she's sat at home with that IBF strap, waiting to see what happens in this fight. I agree with you. I've got to be honest. I believe Sandy Ryan wins this fight, and I think she wins it convincingly as well. And that's not me saying that Jessica McCaskill is by any means past it. Sandy Ryan is just that good, and just that devastating, and just that bit more dangerous and bit more ring savvy. She's got everything that's a little bit better, in my opinion. And the fact that she's done this in 7 fights is outstanding. To be at the level she's at, where we're talking about the next fight's going to be for undisputed, it's crazy. Hats off to, like I say, hats off to Sandy Ryan, and hats off to the gym, the Clifton Mitchell gym there, because what they've done with her and what she's, you know, she's believed in herself and everything is just outstanding, mate. I cannot wait for this fight. I cannot wait. This should be the headliner of the night. This should be the headliner of the night. Not Richard Hitchens. That's the difference between America and the UK, mate. If that fight was in the UK, that'd be headlining the show. Because it should be. It deserves it. Anyway, I think Sandy Ryan wins on points. McCaskill's very, very tough. Very, very tough. I mean, what Chantel Cameron did to her, you know, she schooled her. That fight you're talking about, Chantel Cameron and Sandy Ryan, wow. I mean, I think what'll happen is it'll be a case of whoever becomes undisputed will probably get the Chantel Cameron fight. So it'll be, you know, if we're right and in what we're saying and Sandy Ryan wins this, Sandy Ryan against Jonas, and then the winner of that, in my opinion, will probably get Chantel Cameron. But then you're talking about Chantel Cameron becoming a 3-weight undisputed champion. It's just ridiculous. What that woman has achieved is and she's not talked about the way she should be, Daz.
No, she's not me. Listen, I'm a big fan of Chantel Cameron, but I just think Sandy Ryan's better. She beats her.
You might be right, mate. You might be right. I mean,
I've said all
it's an
along.
outstanding fight, that, and Sandy's a bigger fighter as well, which helps. It's you know, there's a big difference there. Yeah, wow. But yeah, I just can't wait to see the winner of this and Jonas. I think it's got outstanding fight written all over it.
Yeah, I think Sandy beats Jonas as well. Obviously,
I think. Yeah, I think Natasha's maybe a little bit too small for the very big girls at the weight. If I'm honest, there's that big stat saying in there.
If Sandy goes up, you've obviously got the winner of Brackus v Harper as well.
Yeah, exactly. There's massive fights out there between these girls. There's no doubt about that. And then again, that could become an undisputed fight. Crazy, isn't it? Yeah. There's so much going on. Women's boxing, mate, is the shining light in boxing right now. It's not the guys don't want to fight. It's all about money. These girls, they don't care. It's all about legacy to the girls. It's all about becoming the best.
Yeah, definitely.
I just wish the blokes would follow suit. Some of them are, but not many. I just hope hope we see it. So, quick prediction on the headliner then Daz. Richard Hitchens, Jose Zepeda. This is a good fight. In my opinion, shouldn't be the headliner, but it's a good fight.
Yeah.
Zepeda's got lots and lots and lots of experience. He's only lost to the very, very best, by the way.
I'll go Hitchens, me, for this.
He's he's the fresher fighter. He's a fresh fighter. He's the one that's being pushed as the big star. Zepeda's only lost to Regis Prograis. Excuse me. Regis Prograis stopped him in 11 rounds. Jose Carlos Ramirez took him to points. And early on, Terry Flanagan got a win over him, but Zepeda retired, I think, in that fight. So he's only lost to the best. So he's going to give Hitchens a real test here. And we'll see where it pushes Hitchens after that. It's a great division, super lightweight division, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's stacked. There's a lot going on. Let's see where Hitchens goes from this point on. Well, we're just past the hour mark, Daz. Anything else you want to touch on before we go off here?
No, mate. That's about it, isn't it?
I think so. So just pick this comment up from Boxing Expert. Women's boxing will get there one day, and the depth of talent grows as the depth of talent grows. Yeah, the depth of talent isn't there as it is in the male version of the sport. But the point I'm making, Boxing Expert, is they're kind of showing the guys up because they're willing to fight anybody. Girls are moving up 2 and 3 weights to get opportunities for world titles, and they're fighting for undisputed. They're fighting for unified. An undisputed fighter at one weight is going down to another weight to fight for undisputed, and you just don't see it anymore. You don't see it, and that's a sad thing. And this is why in America, boxing isn't even the top 4 or 5 sports anymore. Loads of other sports above it, and that's why, because the fights aren't getting made because people want too much money. It's disappointing. It's really disappointing, and eventually it'll be the death of the sport. I just hope that don't happen in my lifetime because I love it. And what else am I going to talk about on a Thursday night at 7:00? So anyway, thanks to everyone in the sidebar. Boxing Expert, your opinions are always welcome on this show, mate. This is what it's all about. This is what we do it for, to get different opinions. Little bit of banter, little bit of argument, if you want to call it. It's great.
No, it's
Because
just
because it's
opinions,
opinion.
mate. It's a discussion.
It's all opinion. That's all it is.
Mm.
Everything's respected on this show.
It's a
Joe,
good
brilliant as always, mate. Thanks to everyone else in the sidebar. If I've missed your name,
did you want to discuss a certain Commonwealth title fight as well?
Absolutely, yeah. Go for it, Daz. Before we go off here, 2 weeks time.
October 6th, yeah.
3 weeks. 3 weeks. Saturday just gone.
Friday. It's on Friday.
So Daz, for people that don't know, Daz, Daz trains super flyweight Nicola Oatwell. She's fighting for the Commonwealth title against current older Emma Dolan in Sheffield on October the 6th. This will be an absolute outstanding barnstormer of a fight. Daz, obviously, you've been with Nick a while now. Tell us how she's progressing and what people can expect from the fight.
She's doing really well, mate. She's becoming what I know she can. And from the fight, mate, you're just gonna see Nick adapting to whatever's in front of her. That's what she's gonna do. Whatever's required to bring that title home, she will do.
I really want to encourage everyone that listens to this or watches this back, anyone that's in the sidebar. I really want to encourage you to find a stream that this fight's on.
Or if you're local, buy a ticket.
If you're local, if you're in Sheffield, buy a ticket. You can buy them from Nick, you can buy them from Emma Dolan, you can buy them from anyone else on the show. This is a GBM promotion. These guys, if you don't know them or don't know of them, these guys are the next level of small all. It's classed as small all, but in reality, the production's as good as anything out there, isn't it, Daz?
Yeah, mate.
And I think it's being streamed on their platform. Is it being streamed anywhere else?
I'm not sure, mate. I'm not sure. I think it's just on there.
Boxing King Media, maybe?
Could be.
It might be being streamed by Boxing King Media.
Yeah, could be.
Please, guys, trust me when I tell you, this is going to be an outstanding fight. And it's going to be small margins that win this fight, by the way, because these girls are on a level. This is an outstanding fight. And I believe this is won by whoever can adapt the better in the fight. There's my opinion. This is won by whoever adapts better in the fight. I've recently witnessed some sparring with Nick down in Essex, and let me tell you, it was a brilliant. I've not seen fights anywhere near it. It was outstanding, the spar. Yeah, it was brilliant. So, Daz, come on. Sorry, mate. I kind of cut you off halfway through your flow there, buddy.
No, mate. No, you said it all. Really, just if you can be localish, grab a ticket. If not, try and get it on stream. It'll be.
I think Boxing Experts. That's where you can see it. It'll be on YouTube. I'm guessing. GBM will have their own.
It'll either be on the GBM channel, YouTube, or Boxing King Media.
Yeah, I think Boxing King Media are putting it on as well.
Don't fall for any of these, like when they comment on what you put in, these scams, because then they just end up, they're just fake. So it's either Boxing King Media or the GBM actual. But it's worth. This is some good fights on it. But that's going to be fight for me. That could be fight at night.
So, but Boxing Expert, I think he's talking about. We're saying if you can get up here, come and watch the fight, buy a ticket. He's put you don't get past Watford. To be honest with you, mate, I don't go down past Northampton if I can help it. I got on a bit of a nosebleed when I went down to Essex at the weekend. Mm-hmm. But it's all good, mate. It's all good. Like I was saying, this is a fight and a half, and GBM put a really good production. It's definitely worth watching if you can get it. These girls are going on to big things. There's some real top fighters in the super fly division, isn't there, Daz? There can be some massive fights made in the next year or two, maybe even longer. You know, we're going to have world champions at that weight. Let me tell you right now, it's going to happen. Remember this. Remember this show. Remember that comment. We're going to have world champions at Superfly. I have no doubt. I think that is the perfect opportunity for us to bring the show to an end. Thanks for watching. We've been Last Bell Boxing. We do this show every single Thursday. Boxing expert, I'd love to have you come and join us on screen next time, pal. I keep asking Joe, but Joe keeps turning me down. But yeah, please come and join us on screen next time. If you want to, let me know, and I'll drop you a link in the sidebar every Thursday. Like, comment, subscribe if you're just watching it after the show's gone live. Hit the notification bell and you'll get a notification when we do go live every week. We've got lots of footage dropping on the channel. We did some interviews just before we come live tonight. Been down a few gyms just recently as well. So there's lots of stuff floating around on the channel. But thanks to everyone for joining. We'll see you next Thursday. Same time, 7 o'clock.
See you later all.